All right guys, we're here today with the 2022 Hyundai i30n. Now this is Hyundai's performance hot hatch. It is an unbelievable car. It is an update from the previous spec, which was slightly different in styling, different engine outputs, and it didn't have an automatic transmission. So this time around, we've tested both the manual and the automatic to make sure that we can provide our feedback to you guys on what we think is the best experience all round. And obviously you're gonna have to decide day to day which one you wanna put up with from there. We've tested this car in the city and on highways, so that way we get a fair comparison around changing gears or not changing gears in the DCT in speeds of 50 to 70 k's an hour, as well as the fun that you get on a winding mountain road or on the highway drives as well. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so starting with the all-important powerhouse of the car is the engine. So it's a 2-litre turbo petrol engine. It is now available in an 8-speed automatic DCT transmission or in a 6-speed manual transmission. The manual transmission has seen some improvements over the previous model, so it is a lot smoother in the changes. There's less catching in between gears. So really big plus there for Hyundai on that. And in terms of power output, you're looking at 206 kilowatts of power. You're looking at 392 Newton meters of torque, but more importantly, it doesn't have a sharp drop off once it hits the end of its torque curve or peak torque curve. So once you hit that 6,000 RPM, you're still getting still getting a decent drive and plenty of fun to be had even once you push through that. Certainly from a fuel economy point, around town we've tested it. At very worst, we've kind of been a little bit spirited in our driving, and we've pushed it to about the 10 litres per 100 mark. But for most driving that we've done so far, out of the 800 Ks that we've done in this drive, we've hit around the 8.5 litres per 100 mark. So really good fuel economy given what it is and around town. There are a couple of different modes. So you can have an eco mode, which will be a bit more fuel efficient. You have a normal driving mode, which will a little bit dampened in response and once again better on fuel. While we've had this car, admittedly, we've had it in sports mode the whole time because it does give you a better exhaust note and noise and experience. That being said, it also uses a lot more fuel. So if that's the fuel economy that we're getting with sports mode on basically 90% of the time, you'd be pretty happy if you just have it in normal mode as you're driving around day to day. Starting at the front, you have this beautiful grille. It is a lot more aggressive and has these nice red highlights over the previous grille, which was a little bit more bland and subtle. It kind of had just the normal i30 vibe to it, whereas this definitely stands out from the rest of the i30 range. You do have these beautiful headlight design as well. They are a bit more aggressive. They're blacked out. They've got the daytime running lights running through the outline, as well as then the matte blacked out grille and some air vents channeling some air through to the tires, and their actual functional aerodynamic air vents as well. So all in all, really aggressive design from the front and super functional. Starting on the inside, seating position, super comfortable. They've done a really good job with these seats. Now these are the standard base model seats, so they are a cloth interior. They are really well supported on the bolsters. I'm a little bit of a bigger guy. They don't rub into your sides like the old WRXs used to. So definitely a big comfort tick for Hyundai with their design on this. The other part to that is if you're going the non-electric seat, which is basically the cloth seat. So if you don't get the premium pack, the base of the front will also adjust. So it can pull out and pull in, so that if you have longer legs, you will be a little bit more comfortable. If you go the Alcantara leather mix, that seat is a fixed base, so you're not going to have that adjustment in that front. So that's one big thing there. You will get a fair bit of bang for your buck for that $3,000 price increase. That will obviously be your leather Alcantara seating. You will have heated seats. You will have a heated steering wheel, sensing wipers, and a couple of other little bits to add on, which you can read in our review on our website. And another $1,500 will also get you a panoramic roof. So that is what you can kit it out to, and that starts taking the car very close to that 60,000 mark drive away. However, this car here sits at just over 48,000 drive away in its base model form in a manual, and I got to be honest, this is going to be a fantastic vehicle for anyone looking for a fun daily drive that isn't going to break the budget. All right, so what does it sound like when you start it? Well, Sounds like that. It's pretty beefy, has a bit of a bite to it. If we flick through the drive modes, you can either quieten it down. At the moment it's in normal mode. Press the drive mode button once, it will take you to sports mode. You can hear that the exhaust note increases and you get a nice deep bark to the exhaust even in idle. Obviously if you rev it, you start getting some of that noise as well. And if you go through to eco mode, it quietens and down back again and improves your fuel economy. You do have the N performance mode on the right hand side. Now this is customizable, so you can actually customize exactly how this button performs through the main display, which makes it really cool in that you can customize your car for how it's going to perform. To turn it off, simply go back to the drive mode over here. The display for the driver is all analog, which is a really nice thing that the i30N retains, which the i30 models have started to go digital. So you get analog instrumentation. The center display is a multi-information display, and that is digital. And then you get over here a nice big 10.4 inch color display. It's touchscreen, it's really responsive. It does your Apple CarPlay, so if you have a cable, you can actually do your Apple CarPlay. That is the one downside to this car, that it will not do Apple CarPlay without a cable. So once you open this up, this comes up and you have your full Apple CarPlay and Android Auto all through the wired system. The funny thing with that though is that down the bottom here you do have a wireless charger. So once you place your phone down there, it will start charging, which is a little bit counterintuitive, seeing as you need the cord to wire this up. The benefits to having the wire though, or the cable, is that the audio is going to be a higher quality audio output, and your phone will charge a lot faster without heating up anywhere near as much as the wireless charging pad. So I guess there's a win and a loss all in the same there. Dual zone climate control is standard in this car, as well as with this particular car, it is a 6-speed manual transmission. However, as we mentioned before, we did drive the 8-speed DCT transmission for anyone that prefers an automatic drive. I, for one, have had a lot more fun in this car with the manual, and I would probably recommend that you strongly consider retaining a manual transmission. But if you're like a lot of people nowadays that don't know how to drive a manual, the DCT is a great option, because you're not going to be able to drive the manual and you may as well have a lot of fun in this car. Reverse camera is standard and it's clear. So once it goes in, it occupies this part of the space, and the right hand side will actually occupy the rear sonar or parking distance. So these little zones will light up as you start getting closer to those areas. The indicator lights will actually move, so as you move the steering wheel, the actual lines will shift as well to show you where you're going to end up. So a really nice, smart design. In terms of the interior, still some harsh plastics. It is soft plastic on the top of the dash, but you still get this rather brash plastic trim. But it is a performance car. It's not meant to be a super luxury car. So from that end, still definitely a really nice fit out for what you're getting and the price that you're paying. So because this review focuses more around livability rather than a car enthusiast track performance type review, we thought we'd show you the rear seats. So if you sit in the back legroom, this is where I would be sitting as a driver. I got to be honest, my knees are touching the back. However, if I sat just a little bit wider, bit of man spreading, it is a comfortable position. That being said, with the front seat, I could probably adjust my driving position marginally and it would be okay from a back seat perspective, but plenty of space still in the rear for 9 out of 10 people. All right, one of the other quirks for the i30N is because it does get a mechanical handbrake instead of the electronic handbrake in the standard i30 range, it means that you do miss out on the rear air conditioning vents for your passengers in the back. But once again, if you're buying an i30N and you put the smile on your dial like I have while I've been driving this car, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't even care who's in the back and whether they've got aircon, because I'm enjoying the drive in the front and I paid for the car. So maybe have that as a bit of a consideration if you're buying the car. But yeah, unfortunately, no air conditioning in the rear, but it does have a standard mechanical handbrake if you are planning to track the car. So let's talk boot space. Because the i30N comes with a rear stiffness bar that goes across the back seats, It does have a reduced boot space. It drops it down to about 381 litres of storage. So really all that means is that you're going to actually be able to use maybe 3 or 4 medium-sized suitcases in the rear. Still plenty of space. You can fold the back seats down, but it doesn't fold flat because of that rear stiffness bar. This actually comes with a space saver tyre. So that means that you can hammer it around town Monday to Friday, hammer it on the track if you want on the weekend, and if you choose to go for that 2 or 3 hour road trip out somewhere bush, you can still do it comfortably and with the knowledge that you do have a spare tyre should you need a spare tyre. So hats off to Hyundai for doing that. There's some clever use of storage in the back, so you got a couple of shopping bag hooks and the 12 volt outlet output as well in case you want to charge any devices while you're driving as well. So real good design. All right, so there you have it, guys. That is what I think of the i30n. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. It helps me bring a lot more of these videos to you and it gives us access to more and more cars with the more and more people that we have subscribed to us. One of the big things that I will say to take out of my overall experience with the i30n is I've actually preferred the base model without all the fancy crap that you get on the on the premium model. So my suggestion would be buy the manual and save the $4,500 with the roof and the premium interior, and just get what this is meant to be. It's just meant to be a basic raw daily drive that's fun and you can throw into corners without the risk of losing control of the car while having a lot of fun driving it day to day. So if it was me buying one, I'd be buying the base model in a manual, probably in this color because the color is actually really nice. However, if you do like some things are fancy, then obviously the premium spec is still a really nice car, and the panoramic roof is phenomenal on the premium model. Automatic drivers, you will still be pleased with what you're getting and you will still enjoy the car, so don't get me wrong. It's just for me, I think with these type of cars, they are meant to be a driver's car, and having the manual transmission just gets you a bit more engaged and makes it a little bit more fun, especially around town on your day-to-day driving. Without getting old too quick and getting uncomfortable on inner city drives. So there you have it, guys. Any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll answer them. Our full review will come to our website very shortly, so on there we'll have things around what the warranty period is, how much you should expect to service or to pay to service the car, and any other bits of information that we think you may want to know. But leave your comments and any suggestions on cars that you'd like to see us review in the future, leave those there as well.